Hello and welcome back to the Football Chat. Today we're going to be talking about Manchester United and why they didn't lose 9-0 to Liverpool. It's a very surprise result at Anfield. A lot of people predicted high score lines for Liverpool to hit. However, Man United held them at 0-0. Were you pleasantly surprised or annoyed, Harry?
I mean, we all thought we were going to see an absolute, drubbing.
Yeah.
We thought we were going to see loads of goals. And then I thought we might see one or two. We saw nothing. It was a terrible game of football. Honest, for the entertainment factor and the build-up that was put into this game by everyone everywhere. Did it live up to the billing? Absolutely not. Is it good for United? Yes. But it was really boring.
There you go, that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you guys for watching. But yeah, I think it's, Sky Sports saying repeat or revenge. Neither. It's going to be boring for 90 minutes. But
Nothing.
yeah, I think a lot of people tuned in expecting Liverpool to hit quite a few goals. Manchester United actually performed really well, and I think that was quite the surprise. They actually looked all right for a change, which you don't really expect from Manchester United, because usually they get a 1-0 win, but they look terrible all game, or they get flattened. So yeah, they actually had a defensive shape, which is more than can be said for them most of the time this season. They look really solid. They sat very deep, very narrow, made it very difficult for Liverpool to do anything with the ball. In fact, a lot of they kept crossing the ball. It felt like 50 crosses that were just headed away by Varane, who I would get checked for concussion because he headed away a lot of footballs. They had a lot of corners, couldn't do anything with them. United were very good in the air. And overall, it was a really strong performance from Manchester United, a really good defensive performance. I think there's still some problems. They still cannot attack. We saw that multiple times. Højlund went through on goal. Garnacho was through on goal a couple of times. That's clearly still evidently an issue for Manchester United. And I think that is what's stopping them going forwards and stopping this being sustainable, because too many times now they've been in games, especially this one. This is winnable for them if they could attack. If they had players who could go on the other end and put the ball in the back of the net, but they don't, and that's the key difference between them and other sides in the league. But I did think that the game on Sunday was a real step up in quality for Manchester United. It's not a way to play against everyone, because they won't win any games, because they can't score any goals. But it is a way to get results against a Liverpool side who were heavily favourites for that game. So overall, hats off to Ten Hag, hats off to Manchester United. A very strong performance, but it's not sustainable and they still can't attack.
Yeah, no, it feels like that they've sorted out all the rubbish and all the crap in one half of the pitch, and they've stopped making errors, and they look pretty solid. They just look like they talk to each other. Yeah. Who's marking who? Who's doing this? I'll do this. I'm not going to make a stupid tackle here. I'm just going to win the ball back. In the other half, it felt like every time they touched the ball, it was like, oh my God, what do I do? Yeah. And it was still really poor, very disrupt. It looks very disrupted, looks very sloppy. It honestly looks like they've got attackers who've never ran at a goal before sometimes.
That does feel very true, because we were talking in the build-up on the live show on Sunday about how between the front three for Manchester United this season, they have a combined one goal and one assist. That's Garnacho, Højlund and Antony. 1 goal, 1 assist. Those are shocking numbers.
Yeah.
It just seems like no one's talking about it. It's just, they are crap. But because United are 7th in the league, because it looks like they're actually going to be all right, even though they've played crap, no one seems to be too concerned. But I think the underlying numbers has them down in 13th. I don't think they've been the better side in a single game this season. Yeah. I can't think of one. Potentially Chelsea, but they're even more of a mess. So I don't really take that one as United being excellent, more Chelsea giving them a lot of chances. But United haven't impressed me at all this season against Liverpool, though they did. They were the underdogs. They were, depending on how you define it, the worst team. Yeah. I mean, you can say Liverpool were better because they had all the chances, had all the ball. But overall, did they deserve to win? Not in the end, because United was so good defensively.
I think if you take the front three out, looking at Onana had a good game, no errors.
Yeah.
Shaw did well. Varane, the amount of headers he made
was incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Evans looked competent. Dalot did okay. And then
until the instant, we'll get on that in a second.
The midfield three, Mainu did alright. Amrabat, I think, got lucky because he just went around.
Mainu did alright. Mainu was incredible.
Mainu was very good.
Mainu was brilliant in there.
Amrabat ran around like pulling a china shop and got away with it.
Very fortunate to avoid a second yellow.
Was the other one in the middle there? With Tomine, who, to be honest,
was terrible.
He was, but it's the best captain's performance I've seen from a United captain in a very long time.
But a lot of the reason why they couldn't come forwards is because they had no one creating in there. Maybe they had Bruno, and I could understand the potential criticism. Bruno
just run around on the floor all day.
often puts in silly tackles and stuff like that. So would that have been a problem potentially? But I think if they had Bruno in there, they would have been able to generate those transitions with a bit more frequency. I thought they looked really disjointed with McTominay in there, especially given the fact their front three don't do anything anyway. No. You need someone in there that's going to give them gilt-edged chances. McTominay's not that guy. No. So that was a big issue with their play. And then the front three were crap as per. Højlund should have scored. Garnacho had a really good chance, which Trent should have had no hope of getting to, and he should have buried, and he didn't. And Anthony... I've run out of words to say about Anthony. He's just not good enough.
But I think for a United side, who everyone thought would go into the game and concede a heavy number of goals, 0-0 is a cracking result.
Oh, 100%. And that's a real good springboard for which they can take some momentum from and push forward the rest of the season. I do think, though, they need to address those attacking issues, whether that is some additions in January, whether that is selling all of the attackers and then just playing McTominay out front. I don't know.
Even Rashford came on the pitch and didn't do anything.
Well, exactly. And that's the problem. He's low on confidence. The others are all crap. What do you do? Sancho's not even getting a shot anymore. He's long gone, mate. He's just playing FIFA at the minute, so he's not helping, is he? Martial's out injured, but the fact he's looked like one of their deadliest strikers is a real worry. It's just, how on earth do they so consistently get their recruitment wrong?
How have you got so many...
Alejandro Garnacho has been thrust into the starting 11. He's a good player. He's not a starting player for a top six, big six side.
No. He scored one goal with an overhead kick.
Exactly, and he's got one assist as well, which, again, is a 1,000,000% more than what Anthony's done.
And
that's
if Garnacho
enough.
had scored a back post tap-in, nobody would be talking about him this year. But because he did a little... overhead kick and it looked like Rooney's. It depends.
Because if he got a back post tap in this game, we'd be talking about him now. It'd be front page of the video. He'd be on the thumbnail. There'd be loads of accounts going, "My star boy," cold emojis.
He's not the next Messi or Ronaldo. He's rubbish.
I don't think he's rubbish at all. I think he's very raw, and he needs gradual minutes, not like they did with Alanya, throw him in the team and pray. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
You need to nurture him.
Medjugorje and Pellistri came on. That was fun.
Pellistri changed a lot of the dynamism in United's attack, but it was a little bit too late. Medjugorje is a bull in a china shop, and he genuinely concerns me with his tackling.
Could kill someone one
day. He it's not even a joke. I was concerned for the Liverpool player safety because I've watched him a few times in the past, and he puts in really, really stupid challenges. He really endangers opponents. I'm not a fan of him at all. I think, with a lot of young players who go, he's rash, he's a bit reckless because he's young, it's all right, he'll grow. He just seems like a really horrible player, really nasty player. But I don't know, maybe that will be taken out of his game, but I'm really not a fan of him. I don't really see what he adds to the team.
No.
Apart from being able to put in a really horrible challenge. He just seems to misjudge everything. I'm not sure that he's just not up to the pace of men's football yet, or whether that is just how he plays it. Well, that's going to be interesting to see whether it ever makes it Man United, because all their other academy prospects are currently unemployed. So that is not a great success rate. But on to the big controversial moment then, the bit I'm sure you guys want us to discuss. Diogo Dalot. Controversial. Ooh, why was it controversial, Harry?
I mean, for me, it was a bit weird.
When you say for me, you're about to get the most horrendous opinion you've ever heard.
2 yellow cards in 10 seconds. Look at it. For me, not controversial at all.
Oh, God.
It's a nailed-on decision. It's fully right. It's fully justified. And it frustrates me, because I've done it, all the other football fans do it. We sit here and we moan whenever someone like Bruno Fernandes gets in the ref's face. And they go, he should be booked for dissent. He shouldn't be allowed to do that. He should be booked for diving. Then when a referee does book someone for dissent twice, we all kick off about it.
The problem is there's a clear difference because I think you are justified in the first action. You can't throw your hands up and shout in response to a referee's decision because you've got to educate young people, young players. So that's not the way to respond to referees and to act to referees. I think the second one though, there was not enough justification for. and it felt a bit like Michael Oliver. I think he's playing too much to the rules. You've just got to use your brain in that situation. It's not a second yellow. It'll be overturned by PGMOL, I imagine, anyway, so it won't really matter. I think it'll be interesting what PGMOL's decision is, or sort of explanation is. I think the only justification I could have for a second yellow card is if Dalot has said something. I've seen a clip of it. It doesn't look like he says anything, but if he's made a comment to Oliver, that's the only thing I think that could justify a second yellow. Because other than that, it's just frustration. Players are allowed to get frustrated. The second one was he didn't shout at the referee and he didn't aim his frustration at the referee. He was just frustrated. And there's got to be a difference between dissent and being frustrated. You're allowed to be frustrated. It's football. It means a lot, especially when the call was wrong in the first place. So he was merited in his frustration.
No, I don't. I don't like the defence that might not have got the call wrong, because it still doesn't mean.
No, I get that, and I think I agree. The first one's a yellow card. But I don't think you can then. Yeah, I don't think the second one is. I think that's just pathetic. It's really silly from Oliver, because it's not a yellow card.
The problem is,
the point of cards is to stop players putting in stupid tackles and to stop them, going over the top, being aggressive, causing issues. I don't think that a card is merited for throwing a hand in the air. I think when he jumps up and down, throws hands in the air and shouts, that's fine, because that's aimed at the ref. That's a direct dissent of the referee. I think the second one, though, he wasn't even looking in the ref's direction. He wasn't looking. He was just frustrated.
I think the problem is for Dalot is that he showed that second.
Unless he shouted something, of course.
He showed that second burst of frustration before Oliver had even put the first yellow back in his pocket. So he already had the card out. And as a referee, if you see him do it again, because if Oliver's put his cards away and Dalot then comes over to him and has another go at him, I think. But the fact that Oliver still had the card in his hand made it very easy for him just to show it again, get the red one out, off you go, son.
I think that the rules were applied too strongly. I think Oliver did what was within the rules. I don't think he's a bad ref. A lot of people saying he makes loads of bad calls. He doesn't, because he had a perfect game on Sunday until that 94th minute decision. Why do we have to summarise the game as one bad decision? Yeah. It didn't impact the game. It's probably going to get overturned by PGMO anyway. And yet it's all we're talking about at the moment, about what was a really interesting game from a tactical point of view. Not really.
Two big penalty shouts in there that he got spot on.
Yeah.
I think...
I've seen Arsenal fans go, oh, he did the same to Martinelli and stuff like this. He's just applying the rules. Yeah. And he will get that wrong occasionally, of course. But overall, he's a good ref.
It's really difficult, though, because obviously... Sometimes I feel for us because they can never get it right. Because we'll sit here and go, they don't apply the rules hard enough, and then we'll sit here again and go, the rules were applied too much. For me, in the moment, Dalot showed two bursts of frustration. Oliver already had the yellow card out, and he felt it necessary to show him the second one and say, off you go.
I don't think we'll ever reach a point where refereeing is considered good in football, because no one agrees, and that's the problem. It's only a problem when it affects your team. If a decision goes for you, take the Tottenham Liverpool game where Liverpool got two with the Diaz goal. Tottenham fans weren't complaining about the standards of the referee until all Premier League teams and fans decide unanimously that the refereeing quality is not good enough. And I thought that the Diaz goal would be that moment, because it's quite a clear one. Until that moment happens, nothing's going to change, because at the moment it's just, well, we've been wronged here, so we're annoyed. But nobody else cares. And that's the problem.
What's also more annoying is that this is exclusive to the Premier League. It is very rare that in Europe, both domestic Europe and, what do you call it? Like
Continental.
Continental. The calls are dead on right most of the time. And when they're not, you look at it and go, okay, fair enough, that ref's made an error, but that happens in football. And that's the frustrating part.
I think automated offsides obviously help with that sort of stuff. I think the fact they let the game run a bit more, I think also aids with that. I think we're a bit too quick to sort of brandish cards and stuff. If you look at the Arsenal-Tottenham game in the WSL even, the ref there let the game run. There was a couple of challenges, people were leaving stuff on each other. It's a derby. The game's got to be allowed to run. And I think too much in the Premier League now, one, players look for the foul and they go down softly. And two, we award free kicks too quickly for such soft things now.
Yeah, I think there's two things. I think Sunday's decision, for me, probably a rush of blood from Oliver. He'd have been annoyed about the way that Dalot talked to him. He already had the yellow card out. He saw a hint of dissent. He saw a hint of frustration again and went, okay, you're off. Second thing, we only know what Oliver's thinking if we ask him the question. I think bring back post-match interviews. Which referee
Hold
was
them
it?
accountable.
Yeah, because if you do a post-match interview with a referee and they explain their thought process, it might be on the referee who got the penalties. Was Shearer?
Yeah, don't give them time. Don't give them time to come up with an excuse. If you interview them instantly, they've got to be honest. They've got to go, well, I heard this. I think there's a bit of a cock up upstairs because there was loads going on in my ear. That would explain stuff like the Diaz situation. Instead, we leave it a week, and then PGMOL, who've been sat there trying to find every nuance and every excuse, will come up with something.
Yeah.
Don't allow that. On the day, Michael Oliver, come here, you div. Why have you done that?
Yeah.
Tell us now. And and then he'll go, well, actually, he called me a knobhead. And then we're not sat around this conversation, and we go, oh, instead it's going to be Dalot called him a knobhead, he's been sent off.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
why.
That. And I think, I can't remember what referee it was, but he did that in his interview years ago. He said, I was up the other end of the field, I couldn't see it. To me, it just looked like a collision. I gave it. I've seen the replays. I got it wrong.
Yeah, because he said they transitioned so quickly, he couldn't get back in time. He didn't see the thing. It was blocked vision. He couldn't see.
If Oliver came out after the game and said,
yeah, that would be a big step.
if he said after the game, he shouted at me, I booked him once. He then swore at me, I booked him again. Then we'll go, good decision.
Exactly. I think that's it needs to be. There needs to be more clarity, and there needs to be more transparency in refereeing. And until anything that happens,
Webb talked about on a show with Mike Owen.
Well, exactly that. And Dermot Gallagher's completely point. It's just like, oh, let's get a load of refs who are mates with the people who are reffing to judge those ref calls. What is the point? Go and get me Pierre Luigi Collina or Matteo Lajos because they'll judge it more fairly.
Those referees, your Webbs, your Gallaghers, your what's his name? BT one, Watson.
Who honestly, who knows?
I can't remember his name.
Have you ever watched Peter
Walton?
There you go, Peter Walton.
The problem with those referees is they were decent referees when they refereed.
Mike Dean on Sky.
But now they'd struggle. Howard Webb would struggle with the whole VAR thing. Dermot Gallagher, he wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They were good referees back in the day.
I really hope that when Rebecca Welsh comes in and when
Sam Allison,
I was going to say I've forgotten his name, but yeah, Sam Allison. I hope when they come in, they do well because that judge based on how they do will really determine whether it's a fault of the referees or just it is the most difficult job in the world.
Yeah.
because Rebecca Welsh has done well in the WSL. She's got some calls wrong, but they don't have VAR in the WSL, so it's a lot more difficult. And but overall, I think she is a good ref. I know there's some people who go, she's terrible. She wronged us here, but people are too judgy of referees because they made one error against them in 1994, so they're fuming. And it's like, he did one game in 2017 where he wronged us, and it's like, well, he must be a terrible ref then because the other 37 games he did that season he was fine, but that one game he made a big error, so he must be a terrible ref. People don't talk about refs positively, we only talk about them negatively. That's why they look shit.
It's a big thing. Welsh and Allison coming into the Premier League because the fact that it's
taken this long to have a official of colour is mental. And a woman, of course.
But... Yeah, obviously it's official of colour since
these are second ever since 2008, I think it was.
But honestly, I'm a big believer in the fact that we have referees who ref scared, and because they know they've got technology behind them, so if they make a mistake, it doesn't matter. I think bringing new referees who haven't dealt with technology, coming from the EFL and coming from the WSL, means they'll ref it how they see it. And that's exactly what you need from a referee. Because you can't have referees that make decisions knowing that, if I make a mistake here, that's all right, because my mate with the computer upstairs is going to sort me out.
Yeah. Overall, I think the refs deserve to be shown more respect. I think both from fans and from players. I think the players thing is much more important because once the players show them respect, the fans do. There's a reason in rugby why fans don't have a go at the refs. It's because the players don't. So they look at their role. Well, exactly. They've got that. But also the fact that the refs command respect. And I've listened to people talk about how they've had Premier League refs or former Premier League refs come and referee them Sunday League games and stuff like that because they're doing it for a bit of fun or something. And how they command respect in that field. But the Premier League players are so egotistical and big-headed, they don't show respect to those referees. And that's the biggest issue at the moment. So I think dissent is a big thing. And I think we're going to see more of it to try and nullify Premier League players feeling they can throw their arms. You don't see that in rugby, do you? Some big bloody James Hasker's bloody having a tantrum because he didn't win a throw.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's a joke, isn't it?
I think it's Nigel Owens in the Premier League would be bloody brilliant
that's the
because
thing,
he would
isn't
take no shit.
And it's that petulance that we want to rid from football. None of this, oh, wait, we didn't get a throwing decision. I'm going to throw my arms around and scream and shout. It's childish. And I think that's what they're trying to eradicate from the Premier League with the dissent. It's not.
Dalot reacted like all of that over a throw-in.
Exactly. And then about the yellow card. You get the yellow card, you shut up, you realise what you've done wrong. He makes the same mistake twice. So I think in that sense, Oliver can be justified by that. But anyway.
Well on United.
Yeah, United did well. They'll probably have to live up to the next game anyway, and we'll brush us under the carpet. So the next refereeing problem comes out. But yeah, feels like we're talking about refs every week. So we'll end it there. We won't drag on for too long. We will be back. What day is it? This is a Wednesday this is going out. So we are live this weekend. Big clash. It's Liverpool again. Liverpool versus Arsenal. The final game before Christmas. And it is the top two clash. First versus second. I'm very, very excited for our last stream before Christmas. But yeah, that's very good. And then we are back on Boxing Day. Oh, well, Christmas podcast. Look out for that on Monday on Christmas Day. Understandable if you don't watch on Christmas Day, but if you've got a spare couple hours and you want to watch us, sit around, eat food, and chat with our mates, just Harry, the other Harry, this one and another one, then come along and watch that. If not, save for Boxing Day, you'll have time, maybe. Anyway, we're live on Boxing Day as well, so loads of streams coming up. Yeah. Loads of streams over the week after Christmas as well. So just keep an eye on the channel, look for stream pages, and yeah, keep an eye on the socials as well. That's everything though from today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, get involved in the comments down below and subscribe if you're new around here. That's everything from us though. Thank you guys very, very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.